Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be doing some Star Wars hot takes. I got some suggestions from you guys, and this was one of them, to do kind of a hot takes or an unpopular opinion kind of thing, so I figured, hey, why not do it? So, my first hot take is on Din Djarin, and I think he is the most overrated character in Mandalorian. Now, before you all come and attack me, I was a really huge Mandalorian fan when it first came out. Like, I thought it was awesome, it was different, unique. But with the recent season, I feel like it's kind of become more of a cash grab now. And a lot of the decisions that Din made in the third season, I thought were like really dumb. Like, he got his butt whooped like majority of the season, and he kind of like really didn't do much besides just launching his rockets every now and then, or if not, he was about to be eaten by monsters or he drowned in the lake. I don't know, who knows, maybe he'll get a redemption in season 4, I think, if they're doing one, or if they do it in the Mandoverse movie, maybe he'll get sorry, excuse me, some kind of redemption, but I don't know. That's just kind of my first hot take on it. My second hot take is that I think Jedi Survivor Story is better than Jedi Fallen Order. I know, you're all thinking, Sarah, Cal's your man, like, that's your boy, like, what? You don't like his origin story? That's not the case. I absolutely love how Cal was introduced to us in Fallen Order. But for story growth wise and kind of where he was at for Jedi Survivor, I just felt like his progression was better delivered. He wasn't weak by any means in Fallen Order. He just, was trying to overcome his past trauma, connect with the Force again, and it was a fantastic journey on to becoming a Jedi. And, with Jedi Survivor Story, it was just a little more serious, and it kind of touched on what it means to be on the light side of the Force and what would you do to survive and to protect the ones that you love. I like to think at that point for Cal, he was a young adult. I mean, he still kind of was for Fallen Order. He was around 18 years old. And now in this game, he is around 23 years old. And, he's kind of going through things that are difficult, and he has to make a lot of challenging decisions. Whereas in Fallen Order, he still had to make those decisions, but he kind of, there weren't any consequences to his actions. He kind of still had the safe zone. He escaped Vader, Seer was alive, like, they all made it. Whereas in Survivor, Seer died, Bo died, Cordova died because of, Cal's actions. Don't get me wrong, there are some gripes I had with Jedi Survivor Story, but overall, I just felt like it was a well-delivered sequel. Alright, now on to the third hot take. And I don't think that the Clone Wars movie is bad. This may not be so much of as a hot take to some people, but there is still pretty much a huge debate on if the Clone Wars animated movie is good or not. When it first came out, there was so much, backlash. It kind of got the same treatment that the Phantom Menace had, where no one liked it and all the fans were riling up. No one liked Ahsoka, and now she's one of the most heavily, beloved characters of all time. And it cracks me up because when I first saw the Clone Wars movie, I was like, yes, I'm invested. It's a little cheesy, but I'm invested. And the best thing that came out of that movie is we got a 7-season show, which gave us all this lore and content that is still talked about and heavily influenced on the Star Wars media to this day. Okay, hot take number 4. And I think desert planets are the most boring planets in the Star Wars universe. Okay, come on, like, just think for a moment, okay? We got Coruscant, we got Naboo, we've got Kobo, we've got Zepho, and, we've got all these amazing planets, and majority of the planets we have been traveling to lately, like, not all of them, but a lot, I will say, in shows and movies and games, have been desert-based planets, and I'm like, yo, how many times are we gonna see, like, a giant sand dune and desert worms and, whatever they come up with, or desert rats, and I don't know, whatever. I just feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like, there's nothing unique to it. Me personally, I want to see some water planets. There is so much you can do with a water planet. It could literally be like Atlantis coming to life, but for Star Wars. I don't know, just change up the formula a little bit, you know what I mean? Now on to hot take number 5. This one I know is gonna cause some conversations, but anyway. Surviving a lightsaber stab is not possible. Oh no, it's okay. It's just a flesh wound. I'm fine. Like, no. It went through your spine and probably other important organs that got destroyed. And I know people can argue like, oh, but Sarah, your man Cal went through the same thing. That was a flesh wound. Don't believe me? Here are the videos I'm about to show you right now. The first one was a flesh wound. It didn't fully go inside and, you know, stab him. And then even when Cal was fighting Dagan, whoosh, a flesh wound on his chest. That makes more sense why Cal would survive that, but also it's a video game. To me, it just kind of destroys how powerful a lightsaber really is. Like, that's a full-on plasma sword that can cut through things, and it's hot, and you know, like, you're telling me that a full-on sword that's basically, you know, it like destructible, super destructible, can slice through anything and you can live? What? I just don't like that all these characters, like, they somehow live without some kind of logical explanation, whereas like, oh, it was a flesh wound, but when it's a full-on stab, I'm sorry, you're dead. Sorry, went on a little tangent there, but getting back to my last hot take, number 6. I personally think that the Legends books are better than the canon Star Wars books that have come out. I would say I've read a good amount on both ends. I probably would say you can argue that I have read more Legends books than canon. I'm currently reading one right now. It is the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon book, Master and Apprentice, and I gotta say, out of a lot of canon books that I've read so far, that one by far is probably the best one. Some other canon books that I've read, one was about Padme Amidala. I don't think it was The Queen's Peril. I think it was the one before that. It was the first one. Can't remember the title off my head. But I read through the story because I was like, oh, I like Padme. She's like, I don't know, number 6 or 7 on my top 10 favorite list of Star Wars characters. But anyway, I read the story because I was interested to see what the author was going to do, and it was just kind of her like traveling to planet and just talking politics and, you know, not really doing much. Like, it wasn't kind of action packed like how some of the Jedi books that I've read have been. So I don't know, it was kind of a little disappointment. And another canon book that I also read, but unfortunately I did not get to finish it, was Star Wars Bloodline, and it was about Princess Leia, kind of what she did before the events of The Force Awakens. I don't know what it was about that book. I don't know if it was the way it was written or the era it was in or whatever, but I just could not get through it. I was just kind of bored, and I would find myself having to go back to a few chapters to kind of sink some things in because I wouldn't read it for a long period of time and then kind of go back in. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. Let me go back a page or two, and then it ended up being a whole chapter. So I don't know, maybe I should give it a shot again one of these days, but that was another canon book that I wasn't really a fan. Now, the Legends books I have read, I've actually covered it on my channel, was the Heir to the Empire trilogy, and to this day, I still consider that the best Star Wars books I have ever read. Like, I could not put them down. The minute I started, each book from start to finish was an absolute ride, and it was like I pictured a movie in my head. I saw Coruscant, I saw all kinds of other planets that Luke and Leia and Han went to throughout the course of the story, and it's the first time we're introduced to Grand Admiral Thrawn, so you really see how much like of a threat he is to the galaxy. I think Timothy Zahn is one of the best authors out there for Star Wars content, and I hope he continues to write more stories like that based on those characters, because if there's anyone who can do it, it's definitely him. Those are kind of my Star Wars hot takes and unpopular opinions on some stuff. That was actually a lot of fun to film. Thank you guys so much for suggesting that stuff. Please keep suggesting more in the comments below or on other videos, if what other kinds of content you would like to see on my channel. I'm actually working on a lot of things right now. If you haven't seen the announcements yet, I am working on the third Cal Kestis book in my fanfiction trilogy, Rebirth. I just announced a cast list. Cal Westis is going to be playing Cal Kestis. JT Lovecraft is going to be playing Aiden, a Dark Jedi. And I am going to be voicing Night Sister Marin, Annika Jallo, and other characters as well. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and continuing to support the channel. It truly means the world to me. I love you guys, and as always, my Padawan learners, may the Force be with you, always.